The London Grand Tournament, or LGT, is the largest Warhammer tournament in Europe, and the second largest in the world. 5 rounds of 40k played across 2 days against some of the stiffest competition, and where some of the greatest players battle it out for the top spot. And I want to go. So, over the next year, I'll be documenting the process of getting ready for one of the largest Warhammer events in the world. From putting together the perfect army list, getting it all painted up, and doing those all-important practice games. Will I do well? Probably not, but you never know. This is Road to LGT. Right, so this is the first episode of hopefully many of Road to LGT. My name is Sam, and I will be, as the intro suggests, I will hopefully be going to the London Grand Tournament next year in 2026. It's probably a bit late to go to it now, considering tickets are A, have been on sale since February, and B, are probably sold out by now. So I figured probably best to aim for next year. First thing I imagine would probably be, why am I doing this? I recently found myself with a lot more spare time on my hands, and in order to keep up my skill set in video editing, which is what I do for a living, I figured I would start something like this to keep the skills sharp and be able to basically flush out my portfolio a bit and make it look more appealing, so it's not just the same thing over and over again. In terms of the army I am hopefully going to be taking to LGT, I am actually looking at taking the Black Templars there. My first ever 40k army was Imperial Fists, so I'm looking to go back to that, but obviously with a lot less of painting yellow. I'll go into the background of the army, a bit of lore in case people are interested in that in future episodes, so I can flesh out the content a little bit. But primarily I will be going with the Templars, and I will give you a quick run through of the list that I have put together for them so far. We are currently on version 1 of the list. We are currently on version 3 of the list, as versions 1 and 2 had mixed results, shall we say. I played my first game of them into my friend Jack, who is running his orcs and going to LGT this year. He wanted a practice game. I wanted to get some games with the Templars under my belt, so I decided to take on his full LGT prep list with an army that I had never played before, and it went something like this. So not great. I believe the score was something along the lines of around 70 points to him to around 30 points to me. I was still learning the list. I was not running a very optimized list. I was running the Chaplain and Judicia detachment, the Companions of Vehemence, without any Chaplains or Judicias, so that was probably a bit of an error on my part. Version 2 of the list, I decided to swap to Gladius. I went up against another friend, Kieran. He was running the new Votan, and that went more like this. So slightly better, still some improvements to be made. So that has landed me with those changes on my current version 3 of the list, which I will run through for you now. So leading up the force, we have a Marshal. He has the Adept of the Codex enhancement, purely because A, I had points left over, and B, putting him in the tactical doctrine if he does get gummed up in combat could potentially prove to be quite useful. He will be comboing up with a Castellan to lead a squad of 20 Crusaders. They will all be armed with chainswords, with a few power fists thrown in there, and the Sword Brother will have the Flamer pistol to help with a little bit of shooting. We've also got a second Marshal and Castellan combo leading up a small squad of Sword Brethren. There's 4 of them with the Mastercrafted power weapons on there in order to punch up a bit, especially with the re-rolling all hits potentially and critting on 5s. Alongside the characters, we have a Judicia. He will be leading up a squad of 6 Blade Guard veteran. The Judicia has the Honor Vehement enhancement, which gives him extra attacks and extra strength. we've got the Emperor's Champion with the Artificer armor, so whilst he already has a 2-up save and a 4-up invuln, I figured giving him the 5-up Feel No Pain would make him a little bit tankier. He is going to be leading a squad of 10 Sword Brethren. They have all the toys you can give them: mastercrafted power weapons, thunder hammers, lightning claws, plasma pistols, pyre pistols. They are one of my punchy units, along with the other Sword Brethren squad, who is more of a skirmishing punchy unit rather than a proper hammer. In terms of other infantry to fill out the list, we have 2 squads of scouts with a missile launcher and a sniper rifle. They will deploy up the board, be my action monkeys. If they can kill stuff, bonus points to them. If they die having just scored me a few points, that's what they're there for. To round out the list, we also have 5 intercessors to hold the home field. We have a land raider, just a normal land raider with the las cannons, all the trimmings you can give it, so hunter killer, multi-melter, and a storm bolter. That will have the 10 Sword Brethren with the Emperor's Champion in to keep them a little bit protected as it rolls up the field. And lastly, to round it out to 2,000 points exactly, we have a Repulsor Executioner. In terms of the vows, 9 times out of 10 it will be the accept any challenge no matter the odds, which is the if your attack strength is less than or equal to your enemy's toughness, then you get +1 to wound. 9 times out of 10 it will be that. There might be some situations where I'm going into Thousand Suns or Grey Knights where the Psyker vow might be a bit more useful, but that's something that you pick at the beginning of the game, so that would change depending on my opponent. Now, the game plan for it mostly is the intercessors will sit on the home field with the repulsor around, trying to get good lines of sight to shoot things off the board. Scouts will start up in the midfield, get the repulsor those rerolls that it loves having, whilst the Sword Brethren in the Land Raider will trundle up into a big threat target and hopefully delete it. The Blade Guard will set up pitch on the middle objective or a no man's land objective, and with the Judicia giving them fights first, they will basically invite anyone to come and have a go if they think they're hard enough. Meanwhile, the small Sword Brethren squad will be skirmishing around, trying to pick up targets as and where they can, and the 20 Blob of Crusaders will do a similar role to the Blade Guard. They will sit on an objective, and if anyone feels like they can come along and take 40 wounds and I believe 40 OC off an objective, they are more than welcome to try. That's the game plan, at least. The list can and probably will change. As of recording, we are expecting a data slate in the next couple of weeks, so we'll see how points change on there as to what changes. And one thing that is playing in the back of my mind with the LGT I'm planning on going to next year is that we might be in 11th edition at that point. Again, as of recording this video, the Drukhari is the last faction to have a codex announced, which means we will either be very close to the end of 10th edition, depending on how long their end of campaign or end of edition event lasts for. I'm not sure off the top of my head how long Arcs of Omen lasted for, with the end of 9th going into 10th, but we'll see. So that is a potential big thing that could be could throw a spanner in the works here. In terms of the games I've played so far, I mentioned my game against Jack, which, as a reminder, went like this. Again, the list wasn't very optimized. I was completely new to it. I was going into a very good player. I know some people will hate me for saying that, but Jack is a very good player. He has several thousand points. He is the epitome of what an orc is. So I'm not too surprised that the game went as badly as it did, even though he complained that Black Templars were overpowered and needed a nerf after my first turn of simply walking towards him. Game 2 against Kieran with the Gladius Task Force, reminder, went a lot better. I can see why people are looking at staying with the Space Marine Codex detachments. The Gladius detachment abilities gave me a lot more flexibility when it came to moving my units up the field, getting that big turn of advance and charge. Granted, we were playing with the twist of all advances are automatically 6, so I was able to rocket up the board and slam into the targets that I wanted to. Meanwhile, Votan, being a shooty army, did what they could to shoot me off the board before I got there. There was those Steeljacks, which I hate with a passion now because of the amount of shots they put out, the fact that they all have precision, and the dev wounds. Not nice, especially not nice to be on the receiving end of. I will be putting in another game against Jack for next week, so we will see how that goes in next week's episode. We'll give you a rundown of how the game went and how I think the list performed, whether I'm going to make any changes. In terms of the models themselves, thinking about it, I have all the models that I need, so I just need to get them painted up. I have got extra models, so characters that I think that are cool, basically. Not included in the list, we've got the Execrator, so the new character, which gives the unit is attached to advance and charge. I think it has its uses. I might include it in a later version of the list, we'll see. We've got High Marshal Helbrecht, because you can't have a Black Templars collection without the big man himself. He did bits when I played into Jack. He managed to kill Gaz himself. He did unfortunately then get tank hammered into the ground by some Breaker Boys, but he killed Gaz. That was my little victory for that game. I've also got Grimaldus, because again, Templars, Grimaldus, he's synonymous with Black Templars. If you've listened to Hell's Reach, you know what I'm on about, basically. So I have done Grimaldus as my test model. I will throw some pictures up of what he looks like now.
Grimaldus! So hot right now.
So I'm quite happy with how he turned out. The next model I'll be working on is my Castellan. Again, going with a similar colour scheme, just adapting it to a different model. I have used the Mark II Centurion from the new Saturnine box, which I got separately, to customise my own Castellan, because whilst I appreciate the throwback to the classic John Blanche artwork on screen now, with the official Castellan model, I'm not the biggest fan of the model itself, so I have wanted to kit bash, especially if I've got multiples of characters in there like I have with the Marshal and the Castellan. I'm wanting to make sure they are easily identifiable to myself and my opponents in case there's any confusing moments that occur. So I will post pictures of my Castellan and my Marshal when they have a bit more progress on them, basically. So that about rounds up what I was wanting to speak about in the first episode, like an intro of why I'm doing this, what army I'm picking, a rundown of the list, and some games that I've done in preparation. Going forward, they will probably be a little bit shorter than this, because this was quite a sort of front-loaded episode, but it will be a similar format of here's if there's any changes to the list, here's some painting progress, and here's how a game or games went in the last week. Again, this is something to sort of help keep myself accountable, because I have in the past said I will do this army, painted a model, and then got bored and started a new army, which everyone's guilty of in Warhammer, especially. So it's something to keep myself accountable, keep the painting progress going, and even if it doesn't pick up traction, it's something that I'll be doing to keep myself busy as it is. If you do want to follow along, make sure to, subscribe, whatever. It's something that I will be hoping to continue doing, unless life gets in the way. It might, you don't know. But that's it for now. Until next time.